Fala, meus amigos, eu estou tendo o prazer de estar aqui com a Elaine Ann, da Kaizor Innovation. Ela apresentou uma palestra muito legal sobre a cultura chinesa. Foi uma palestra sensacional sobre contextos. E eu vou fazer algumas perguntas para ela que complementem essa palestra que eu achei sensacional. So, Elaine, thank you for being here. It's a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you.
I saw your talk earlier. And I was very impressed about the way you convey the information about Chinese culture, and it was very valuable for us Brazilians.
And I'm sure you use like Google, Facebook, yeah, YouTube, right? All of this. But are you aware that on the other side of the world, in China, there exists another completely different ecosystem?
One moment you mentioned about the WeChat.
Okay. WeChat has 900 million people using it right now. You know how many people are 900 million? It's 3 times the size of the United States, okay? And 100 million are outside of China, okay? I know Brazil has 200 million people. In China, it's like one app. It's called the super app, all right? And it's really interesting because I think the whole mental model of how people design are very different. And people in China are okay with that. I think in the United States, people won't be okay with that.
I was wondering about WeChat and how the way it works in China. So I was wondering about the privacy and security of information, since the whole thing is on one hand, right?
Yes.
So it's a valuable information that you can convey for us about it.
Sure. So about WeChat, what's interesting is if you ask people outside of China, like in the West, some people would have concerns about privacy and whether the government is digging into your data. But if you go across the border and go into China and ask Chinese people, they don't have that concern. And one explanation that I found is in all behaviors, you need to dig back into history and context. Because every culture is different. China has been 5,000 years of history with a lot of emperors, right? Emperors and dynasties. So it's always been looking up to one figurehead. You know, there wasn't democracy in China. And also, if you look at the way WeChat was designed, it's basically like 30 apps in one thing. And Chinese people love that. Okay, it's for ease of use and user experience is actually perfect. But I know in the US, like people will be like, wow, you know, how can you do everything good in one thing?
In Brazil as well.
Yes, okay, so maybe Brazil has more US influence. So in China, what you can do is you can open an app called Dianping. It's like Yelp, okay? So you find a restaurant, okay, in Dianping, and then you can order taxi right there. So it's and then you can pay
all in the
all
same
in
place.
One, okay, all in one, like it's sequential, right?
Okay.
So in the US, you will never have open Yelp, order an Uber, and go to PayPal.
Okay.
You would never do that.
Yes, it's very annoying sometimes.
Yes, but if you look at how Chinese medicine is, if you go to a Chinese doctor, there is no specialization. Okay, if you go to a Western doctor, there is a cardiologist and brain surgeon and chiropractor and dermatologist for skin. It's all separated. In Chinese like medicine, it's not even just medicine. It's holistic. It's about qi. You know, it's about energy. Energy is user experience. It's all connected. Okay, and that's
about the whole thing.
It's about the whole thing. It's about I think the Chinese mind is about the whole thing. And if you look at our Chinese language, characters, it's a whole thing. It's not like chopped up.
Okay, I see. It's very interesting. It's different. It's a cultural aspect about this whole thing.
Yes, and our language affects how our cognitive. So I think if you dig into culture and history, you explain a lot of things. Yes.
And do you see a way that WeChat could work here in Brazil or in the United States?
Oh, just one more addition to my thought before is because China is government controls a lot of things, right? Yes.
And the way I see it is, because I'm from Hong Kong, right? I kind of see like both sides.
It's good. It's good.
Yeah. Because if you think about China is 1.3 billion people.
It's
okay, that's the size of 4.5 times the population of the U.S.
Yes.
Okay, so the analogy is if in the U.S. or in Brazil you have two 18-year-old kids who've grown up, right? China has 5 times, like 10 little kids. You know, not everybody is middle class yet. There is still 300 million people who are farmers. Yeah, so not everybody's educated. That is why I think the government needs to control the internet.
Okay.
Because if uneducated people get news on making bombs and doing stupid things, you know, they're not at that stage yet. Until China, I feel, if it's mostly middle class, which is working towards, right? Then I think the internet
But
was
it's pretty new, right?
Yeah, it's new. I mean, it's only been 30 years since China opened up, right? And also, people have a lot of curiosity about the Great Firewall, and but if you come to China, you notice that the Great Firewall is only this high.
Okay.
Meaning, it's not completely blocked.
Okay.
If you're a knowledge worker and you are educated, you know how to climb the wall.
Okay.
You know VPN.
I see.
Okay. So whenever there's a major event like a Beijing Olympics, then it'll be blocked. But some people know how to find.
Okay. I see.
We will switch from VPN to VPN. Okay. I think what the government is worried about is people who are worried about national security because the country's so big. If only one province, revolts, everything spreads, right? So, and if you look at history, China has been in chaos for the past 100 years. We had we had Japanese invasion. China was invaded by 8 countries. We had the German, the French,
It's like the Europe in the Second World, right? It shapes the culture and the behavior.
Yeah, so that's why I think, it's not until now that China has some stability. So that's why it's nervous about it breaking up, right? So anything that threatens that, it's gonna go down. That's how I interpret.
Fantastic. Elaine, thank you so much. It was very valuable for us. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks.
Very good.